a second?
It's on.
You didn't. Hold on a second.
What's up, people? What's up, party people? I was just talking to Rod saying we gotta do a live and have some fun out there and just bring some smiles to everyone's faces. So I'm starting off with some chicken broth, settle the tummy, and just gonna chill and have a chat with you guys. So first of all, how are you guys doing? Let me know if you can hear me, by the way. If you are on and the audio is okay, can you give me like a heart or a thumbs up that you can hear me? So, because I know we don't have the greatest phones or anything, so our audio gets a little funky. Oh, thank you for the heart. Okay, good. You know what? I have a little blessing I have to share with everyone today. Two main things happened. Number one, I was able to have a breakthrough with nutrition yesterday, which was a bonus. So I've been able to add some. I'm incorporating some carbohydrates of like fruits and things. So to do it slowly, so that way it doesn't add to water where I experienced all that problem, and so that I also don't experience refeeding syndrome. Refeeding syndrome is a fatal situation that can happen to someone who's going to someone who's already malnourished and they're taking in nutrition. There's something that could possibly happen, which is an electrolyte shift. So it's very uncommon. It's not, or I should say, it's not as common. Refeeding syndrome, that's different from refeeding. Refeeding is the process of refeeding the body. Refeeding syndrome is the electrolyte shift where you can go into heart, liver, and kidney failure. And they don't know who it can happen to. But the likelihood, if it's happened to you already, then you're more likely to have it happen again. And I can explain the process. I want to give a shout out, by the way. What's up, my Nicole? Hi, my Marie. What's up, my peeps? I miss you guys. Nadine, what's up? So, what's up, Amy? I was just, so anyhow, that's what the point of, that's why I have to do something so cautiously. When you're increasing your nutrition, what they say, the rule of thumb is start low and go slow. I like that expression. Start low and go slow. So the reason that is because back in World War II, when the soldiers and people who were very sick from World War II and the Holocaust were very malnourished, and even the Japanese soldiers, it was a very hard time. And then they discovered, when they started feeding them, that the carbohydrates and the influx of calories caused them to go into heart, liver, and kidney failure. It's an electrolyte shift. And what happens, this is really interesting. When you're in a malnourished state, your body has atrophied, and it relies on protein and its fats. So it attacks the muscles and its reserves of fats. So when you take too many, like let's say if I just ingest, I get a lot of jokes like, why don't you eat a cheeseburger, right? And I laugh and I'm like, well, because I let people know if it would work, that would not be my problem. Because if you do, you can influx so many. What happens is your blood serum appears normal. So you can have readings that come out normal. So those of you that have an eating disorder, even if your blood work does not show it, it does not mean you're not very sick inside. Somebody who could be, let's say, 70, 80 pounds and malnourished could have fine blood work and someone, let's say, is 150 pounds, and let's say they're suffering from bulimia or binge eating or something, they could have the same blood work. So specialists know what to look for, and you have to look for very specific indicators. So what happens is, if you take an influx, like let's say if I took too many calories in right now, what could happen is your spleen, for example, starts let's say filtering red blood cells properly. And all this nutrition overwhelms the body, and the cells have to process it in intracellular level. So there's an electrolyte shift that could happen. And again, I'm not a doctor, so please look this up. And that electrolyte shift from that volume of food could be so drastic, you drop dead and go into heart failure, liver failure, and kidney failure. Mine was a result of a hospital doing it to me. I had posted one time that I put on over 40 pounds in just a couple days. And some people were, disputing that. And I said, please look this up. And what happens is, especially with glucose, which is sugar, carbohydrates we are very sensitive to. So if you punch in a bunch of sugar, which is what they did to me, they gave me something called a bolus. And in the eating disorder world, you don't want to give a patient a bolus of nutrition in their IV. That can force them, and that's what happened, into heart failure, liver failure, and kidney failure. It takes a while to recover, and it does muscle damage, it does physical or biological damage, it does neurological damage. I'm going to show you guys something. What happens is, like, I was frozen like this, like that, my arms, and Rod could press on it like hard and they wouldn't move. I was neurologically impaired, and and so that was one thing. So with carbohydrates, we have to take it very carefully and slowly. And Brittany, I'm reading your comments of just eat. It's very simple. What I'm trying to explain is, if I just eat normal, it could kill you and put you into refeeding syndrome. So it has to be slow and steady. They say start low and go slow. And because I'm malnourished and at risk for it, the body can't process it down. So if I just eat whatever, it's not that simple. It's a very complicated biological system. So you can't, Kelly, you bring it up. The body can't process or break down normal food when the malnutrition gets to a certain point. So that what I'm saying is, it's not as simple as it seems. You have to, like, even the diet has to be very spot on, or I could drop dead. It's not just eat whole food. Number one, I could aspirate. Number two is I would drop dead, and because I'm at risk of refeeding syndrome. So I hope that makes sense.
Why would you drop dead?
And I hope, and what you can do, Brittany, I hope this might help. Please look up refeeding syndrome. And what I've been told is, for me specifically, because how unfortunately critical I got, which should speak to the mindset of the disease, is that I will, until my body is at a proper weight restoration, I will be at risk for refeeding syndrome until that happens. And they have it's surprising how little research they have, but it's because it's not funded very much. And there's, of course, more important issues going on of COVID and everything. So I just wanted to say I had a chance to start incorporating the sugar. This is where it gets very tricky. and I don't have the resources, right, to consult or to be able to get treatment from a center or a hospital or things like that for this kind of ordeal. So one of the other things is, it's a very interesting, you actually can, phosphorus is one of the main things that why we die, is it's called hypophosphatemia, I think is how you say it. And there's low potassium that occurs. It's an electrolyte shift. Oh, Lauren, thank you for bringing that up. And Sarah was saying when she tried eating, she would burn more calories. I have a story that I don't know if I've told you guys that happened. What it is that one time I was eating. I ate. This is years ago. I didn't know about this. I made up a word. I call it flushing. And I ate like about 1,800 calories or 1,200 calories. The next day, I dropped double digits in weight. And my face that is normally very full was sunken in overnight. We woke up and Rod looked over at me and he goes, "What happened to your face?" And I ran to the mirror and I went, and it was because I overate. It's called hypermetabolic. I call it flushing. I never could find anyone who experienced it. And I went to many treatment centers. One treatment center, one girl said she experienced it. I called it flushing. And so I hope that makes sense. And then let me get back to what Lauren was saying. What happened to those lovely bowls of food I was eating? It was about 6 months ago. It looked like my weight was restoring. Absolutely. What had gone on, though, was I had put too much calorie in. And this time, my body put on a lot of water. It was, I think we got to close to 50 pounds of water. And so my bones were breaking inside me. I couldn't breathe at all. I mean, like, I literally was like, not because there was fluid in my organ of my lungs. It was because I didn't even have the strength to move it. When you take a tiny, tiny little body, like, I don't want to throw numbers out, but let's say it was 50, 60 pounds. Let's just make up numbers. If you take that tiny body, that body is already bare. It has no muscle. It has nothing. And then burden it and double its weight. So I had to pull back because I couldn't get into a hospital to help. I couldn't get into treatment. I tried Denver. We were trying everywhere. So I had to pull back on the carbohydrates because I was literally dying. It was the darkest year of my life. And it was so hard. And I appreciate you guys saying things of let's being supportive, because remember, this is a beautiful lesson. Beautiful lesson. Fear and negativity comes out from what we don't understand, right? It comes from not knowing, the unknown, those emotions, like the coronavirus that's going on. The fact that we don't understand so much makes it so scary. The more we understand each other and what we're going through. I made up a quote, and it's kind of my MO, and I look at things as, don't look at what someone's going through your eyes. Look at the journey they went through to get there. Then it will make more sense. And all those negative feelings of anger and frustration or helplessness you have for that person dissipates. Because when we have understanding, then we are informed. There's no fear. Fear leads to irrational behavior, making quick judgments, making snap judgments. We don't need that, right? We need to really, we're not always going to be positive, but we can keep our humanity and our kindness, by empathy, of emotional intelligence and understanding.
Lisa.
And I want to answer some questions. Sharon, I'm concerned the edema will return. Yes, it will. It can return. That's why I have to take it so slow. And it's frustrating, but for me, I have to take it slow in order to restore. And what happens is a lot of us get a lot of edema, and it's not something talked about. And I think that's not a good thing, because when it's not talked about, it blindsides you and you're afraid, and no one will answer why it happens. So but the water resolves. When it does resolve, it can resolve very abruptly. They don't know why, they don't know how, they don't know when. I would ask someone, it could take months, it could take a year. They don't know these things. So we have to proceed very cautiously, especially because of the virus. I can't just go, oh, well, I'm not feeling good, I'm going to go. The hospital can do this. It's not safe right now and things like that. And there are more important things that people are needing right now. And the other thing is, and Rod was bringing up a good point, if you don't have, I didn't have organ failure, I couldn't stay. I actually begged the hospital to let me stay, and they wouldn't. And that was really disheartening. And I did lose extra weight beyond the edema. I was very sick. I had an infection. I couldn't swallow. So I got, during those 1 to 2 weeks, refeeding syndrome can be present. So I had to start low and go slow again, because I wasn't able to take in nourishment. Because in my condition, you're at risk of refeeding syndrome for a very long time until the weight restoration.
Inpatient center option.
And let me see, let me read. Okay, Lisa, I am so sorry. Lisa, she's asking, how come inpatient treatment is not an option? Great question. Because I'm a medical liability to a treatment center. You have to be medically stable to enter a treatment facility. And a treatment facility is different from the hospital. The hospital, like a Denver Acute or a Johns Hopkins, will get you medically stable. So if you want to enter treatment, you can do so from there. Which, for me, is what I've been noticing is that since I've been really just buckling down and really fighting, and coming out and getting really the edema, getting all that edema helped off. It helped so much. I can't tell you how bad it was inside here. It was very unhealthy in here and scary and dark. And it was hard to make it through the days. And that's why you didn't see me very much. I wasn't able to put words together. I couldn't hold a thought. I was upset, from being in constant pain all the time with the edema, because it burns. Your whole body burns all over. And it shows a lot in the face, too. And it resolves abruptly. And we get a lot of, as patients, we get a lot of comments of how it looks like we've done something to ourselves to do it on purpose, which is not always the case, because the face shows a lot. And I looked up some videos of some other girls, and I saw their face at the same weight was like this, and then at the exact same weight later was like this. It's so crazy how it fluctuates. But again, there's also some behaviors that could be involved. So I wanted to just kind of do a little I don't want you guys to just take my word on it. This is all information that's out there. I really encourage you to look this up. Lee Marie, I want to read what you're saying. She's saying refeeding syndrome only applies where too much food or liquid is ingested during the initial short period of refeeding. She's absolutely 100% right. And especially when you're not in a hospital, you have to be extra careful, because what they do is they actually boost you up on phosphorus, boost you up on thiamine, boost you up on a bunch of other things before they even start the process. That's why it's so important to consult a professional, I don't want to say not regular doctors, because I don't want that to sound in a bad way, but it's true. Regular doctors don't know these things because it's not talked about in their studies. So even when you go to a hospital, I went to, like, for example, Rod had to take me into the ER, and the ER doctors almost killed me because of what they were doing incorrectly. Not because they were trying to hurt me. No. They didn't know this process because it's not known. So yeah, right, Rod. It's not general protocol. So please, if you do know about this, make sure you tell your loved one or yourself to find a specialist. That's why we have to our medical costs are so outlandish. Yeah, we can have government insurance and things like that, but it does not cover the people we need to reach, because those people have no idea what it is. So I hope this is a bit more, I want to say informative, and we can go back and forth on this. I love the conversation. I think these are great questions, and I don't want anyone to be discouraged. Let's be critical, but let's be positively critical. Even the negative stuff, yes, we can criticize, and I want you to criticize me, because if you're not criticizing me, or if we're not pointing things out that are important to that individual, how do we grow? We must self-reflect in order to grow. So it's not a bad thing, and we welcome questions, we welcome curiosity. So I wanted to just share that with you. And I have one little blessing, or two blessings I would like to share. Is one, I would love for you guys to check out our little video we posted of nature earlier. It was the funnest things that happened. There were so many different animals, and it was so interesting. And number two, we've had a torment time with AT&T, right? With just nightmares of things that have gone on. And I talked to a lady yesterday on AT&T, and her and I started talking, and the next thing you know, it felt like we were best buds. And you know what she did? I have to share this. I didn't know until we hung up the phone. We were chatting, and I just sent her a little blessing and was just saying, bless you for all that you're doing. We were just like having a good time. An hour went by, and we were not talking about anything AT&T related. I hang up the phone. I check the bill. She credited the entire bill for the month. So a reminder, there are some blessed people out there. I wanted just to give a shout out. And Amy, yes, you're asking, are my medical bills high? They are extraordinarily high, which is why we have the GoFundMe page. I'm hoping we don't have it for much longer, because there's so many people out there going through things. But every month, Rod takes care of me and everything. And as I'm getting better and whatnot, we have a lot of medical problems and costs. So we have to spend a lot. I mean, it's thousands of dollars a month, and disability doesn't cover that. So, we do what we can, but there are worse things going on out there. So it's not about, I'm not even really wanting to bring that, into question, but for people with an eating disorder, medical is extraordinarily high. This is not just me. And most people don't know, if you want to go to a treatment center, it is very expensive. treatment centers can charge anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 a month, and that's not including hospital. I've been in a hospital 9-10 months out of a year. A hospital, I don't know if you guys know, a hospital is very expensive. One time I ended up getting a $900,000 bill. I am not joking. That's how expensive treatment is. And see, I understand that this crazy... Jenny's asking, is there, if there's any permanent damage? There is permanent damage done to my bones. So if I break bones very easily. I'm hoping to recover from it. I just wish I would have, hindsight 2020. I wish I had that window. I could have reversed the osteoporosis. But you know what? I can stop it from getting worse. And I'm going to just do that. I'm going to stop it from getting worse. My brain has taken, hits in some areas. I've literally lost almost 15 years of my life, or more than that. I can't remember memories of times. It's one day I'm going to, talk about all the things that happen, and it is, it is a roller coaster. If I put it in, Rod and I were saying at one time, if even one chunk was a movie, it would be like a bazillion movies. It's so roller coastery. I've been blessed by learning a lot, and I feel this whole thing was a blessing, to be honest, getting this disease, because in this aspect is that I've learned so much and maybe can do some good with it. That's what it is. So if you guys can stay home, so what? We're quarantined. We're just gonna have fun. So come and hang with me. We can still connect with our family and with Rach and R-O-D. But the other verse, so what? We stay home. So what? We're quarantined. We can still have fun. Just come and hang with me. We can still connect with our family, which is you guys, which is how it ought to be. And my hands
love you guys. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for everything. Post anything. I'd love to see what you guys are doing in your time. And I'm going to keep getting better. It's snacky time. I'm out. I love you. Be that unicorn.
We out.